Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So today our Montana fifth wheel is getting another upgrade. And as ambassadors for Keystone RV Montana, we're going to share all those with you as we do them. We've done a few already this year, if you've seen any of those. If not, I'll leave links in the description below for those. Today's upgrade is all about organization and convenience. So what we're going to do today, as you can see, I have everything from our basement spread out all over the driveway. It's all emptied out because today we're adding a pull-out tray from MORryde, which is going to make life for me a whole lot easier. I know Tina could care less about this stuff because if you guys are anything like us, I take care of the outside stuff, she takes care of the inside stuff. So this is really kind of a gift to myself. So these are really easy to install. I'm sure if you've looked into these MORryde trays, you've seen people do videos installing these and how easy it is. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I am going to share with you guys why I'm doing some of the things the way I'm doing them. So when you order one of these, you can order them from any MORryde distributor or even off of Amazon. And in fact, that's where we got ours, was off of Amazon, because they had the best price and the fastest delivery. So I've got it set in there already. And when you get yours, it may or may not clear your lip for your compartment door. And in our case, it did a little bit until it got to the support beam on the tray itself, and then it caught. So we do have to lift it up a little bit. MORryde does offer a lift kit or a riser kit that you can purchase with yours if you need it. I chose to make my own, and I'll show you why when we get into this a little bit later, and why I chose to lift this up a little bit more than it actually needs to be lifted up. So I'm going to push this forward. I released it from the other side already, so I could just push this forward. And I'm going to have Tina come up here, and all you really have are 2 screws on each side, on each end. So you're going to have 4 screws to screw this into the floor, and that's it. So I'm going to lift mine up 1 inch, and what I'm going to use is 1-inch square aluminum tubing for the spacers. And I've already got the holes drilled for the screws, so all I really have to do is place those, line those up with the holes on the tray frame. And I've already measured where I want it, got everything already squared up. I do want to mention that I purchased the one that's 90 inches long, which is the width of our basement, and I only had 39 inches that I could really fit in on the other side of this basement because of the wet bay the way it is. So, which worked out pretty good, because you'll see later I have other things that I put in this space right here. So it's going to work out pretty good. I'm sure it's still going to be a work in progress as far as getting things organized the way I want them, but it's going to make life a lot easier for sure. So basically what I'm going to do is just line these holes up, lift that up, and line up the hole. And like I said, I already have it measured and where I want it, and so that's just going to ride on this 1-inch aluminum tubing, and all I really have to do is screw them down. And when you get your tray, it will come with a bag of assorted bolts and screws that you can use to screw these in. So basically all I'm going to do, like I said, I already have it in place. Put a washer on there, and you just screw these down, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and get these screws in, and I'll be back, and we're going to start loading this thing up, and I'll show you some of the items that we carry that I have to find room for, and how I'm going to do that, and I'll kind of show you guys why I placed this where I placed it. There was a little bit of thought that went into it as far as the things that we carry that I wanted to have room for, and hopefully maybe some of the way that I do things will give you guys some ideas how to organize your basement, or feel free to leave comments on things that you've done that might help me organize mine a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all screwed down, and then we're going to move on to, I did purchase some other things for it, and we'll get into that here in a minute, so I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have all 8 screws in, there's 4 on each side, and I've got the spacers in there. One thing I'll show you is this tray pulls out from both sides. And if you go to MORryde's website, you can look at all of the different size trays that they offer and how far out they pull and their weight limits and things like that. This has a weight limit of 800 pounds. I doubt very much that I'll get 800 pounds on here, so I'm pretty sure it'll handle anything I throw at it. So you can see, you just pull up the lever and you can pull it out. It pulls out real easy. For those of you that might own a Montana rear den or one of those models that have the big trays in the back, this is essentially the same tray, just a different size. It also comes with, I don't know, some people might call that indoor-outdoor carpet. It's more like a trunk liner. I can see already I'm gonna mess that up. So I'm gonna make another modification. I went and purchased these plastic tiles from our local home improvement store, Menards. I'm sure you could probably find something similar at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. They're plastic, they're gonna be easy to wipe up with just some soap and water. And I know that I'm probably gonna trash this carpet, and you'll see why later when I start putting stuff in. And of course, it's an RV, you're camping, and sometimes the weather's not gonna be the greatest. You may have to pack up in a hurry. This is just gonna make those muddy, icky days easier to clean up. So I'll show you, they're real easy. I'm gonna take a board and lay them on there to trim them. If you have to trim any of these tabs, I've already got some trimmed, but I'll show you guys how easy it is. So basically, they're all just gonna snap together, and it was 2 packs of these that it is gonna take to completely cover this whole thing. So basically just cut and what you can do when you have to, I've already trimmed some, so I know already what I have to trim. Only one side, the tabs need to be trimmed to fit in, and then it'll fit in perfect. Unfortunately, it'll just be some of these that I might be able to use these tabs for that I cut off to fill in later. But I'm gonna cover the whole thing, and I'm gonna do that right now, and I'll show you how easy it is. It's just real easy to trim these tabs off with a razor knife, and they come right off. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff trimmed up and laid in. Okay, so I have a couple of these already trimmed up, so I'll show you just how easy it is to push these together. They just snap together, so you basically just line them up and just push them in. If you push on one side first, they just kind of snap right in. So they all just snap together. Just that easy. If you get some tough ones, you could take a hammer and just kind of tap it and finesse it a little bit. But once they go in, they pretty much stay together. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing finished up, and I'll be right back, and we're gonna start loading this thing up. Okay, so I've got all the plastic tiles installed and everything loaded back in the way that we're carrying it now. I wanted to show you something first. The reason why I lifted this up a little bit further than what I really needed to, I've got that released on the other side. That's why I can push it out. But you can see some of the stuff that we don't normally use on a regular basis and is flat, like a 6-foot table. I mean, that comes out very rarely. And so, you know, just flat stuff can be stored underneath the tray. So that makes it convenient. So all that stuff that normally would be cluttering up your space is just under it and out of the way. And you can see when I spaced this out, I had this stool in mind too, that I could just tuck that off to the side. And as the tray slides, it's not in the way at all. So I'm gonna pull this out and I'll show you this side first. And like I said before, this pulls out 60%. And everything that you see that we have loaded on here is loaded on in order, kind of like you would load a moving truck. You know, the stuff that you want off last, you put on first. So obviously when we get to a campsite and I get the rig set up, first thing that comes off is the chairs. Those are out of the way. This 22-inch Blackstone grill does have its own stand, but now that I have this pull-out tray, that was another reason for the plastic floor, so I could clean it up if grease dripped on it. I'm just gonna leave it right on. I'm gonna pull these chairs off so you can get a better look, but I'm gonna leave it right on the tray so that when we're done with it and it's cooled down, I can just slide it in, put it away, and it's out of the way. Some of you might be asking, what's this all about? This is something that I found with this whole setup in mind while I was at Menards. They have a fast track system, and this little tray just clips on pretty much at any height I want it. So while I'm cooking, I have an extra tray, and then they had this handy little thing too that'll go on, and then I could just put paper towels on there too, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little messy when I'm grilling, so I like to clean up as I go. So that makes it a little handy. The grill also came with this that goes on the stand, which I do still use part of the stand so that the heat isn't being distributed on this. It all comes up and it stays cool underneath, and then so I do have to raise it up a little bit yet, but then that will go on there too. So I can cook right here, clean up right here, and then when things are cooled down, just put things away. And the nice thing is, comes out 60%, so I can still get to all these totes. And as I said, this is probably going to be a work in progress for a little while. So I'm gonna put this stuff, tuck this stuff away. I'm gonna put the chairs on, and all right, let's go over to the other side and I'll show you that. Okay, so on this side obviously is where all the utilities are, the electric, the water hookup, the sewer hookup, so it stands to reason this is where I keep all that stuff. And you can see the wet bay takes up part of that. That's why I could only get 39 inches wide for this tray. So I'll pull this out a little bit, and there's a couple things I want to show you guys. If you are wrestling with your 50 amp cord, stop it. This MORryde cord reel is probably worth every penny that I paid for it just to roll this cord up. Even when it's cold, it rolls up really nice and easy. The hose reel is nothing more than a smaller cord reel from MORryde. And here's what I did. I modified it a little bit. I carry the G-force hoses that fold down like a fire hose. They just roll up really easy like that. So what I did was I just put bolts in the center of this thing so I could separate two hoses. So you never know, especially if you're in a state park or wherever, if your 25-foot hose sometimes just isn't going to be enough. So I carry a second 50-foot hose on the other side, and I just keep that reeled up tight, and I'll just deploy the 25-foot hose when we get to wherever we're going. I have everything on quick connects, and that makes it real simple, real easy. I have it set up so that again, the things that I'm going to need first are up front. So the first thing that I do when we park, obviously the wheel chucks come off, so they're going to be out of the way when I'm using these hose reels. The 90-degree dog bone for the electric, that just stays up here on top. I have room for a toolbox, and then of course the stinky slinky little folding ramp thing back there. I also carry little cones so that if we're kind of in a tricky spot, I can go out, walk it off, look at it, and put cones and just follow the cones, especially if I don't have a spotter or Tina's got to be somewhere else watching. I can put cones out. It makes it really easy when we're backing into some pretty tricky spots. So that's our setup for now. Like I said, this is probably going to be a work in progress. I hope that this gave you guys some ideas. I keep referring to our Montana because that's what we have, but these MORryde trays will fit in any brand of fifth wheel. So don't feel like if you don't have a Montana, you can't order a MORryde tray. They put these in all brands. So again, I'll put the link for MORryde's website in the description down below. And you can find those from eTrailer, Amazon. There's dealers. You can get them order them from RV dealers. I did call MORryde and ask them, while we were out in Shipshewana getting our refrigerator converted, we were close to there. I was hoping that I'd be able to just go pick one up, but they don't let you do that. So they want you to buy them from an authorized retailer. Fortunately, I found it for like $100 cheaper than everybody else on Amazon, and I think they shipped it in like 3 days. So we scored a pretty good deal there. So again, guys, I hope that this helps you guys out. Oh, one more reason why I like this, that I do want to point out before we end this video, is I'll have Tina come around. A lot of your fifth wheels are probably pretty similar. These panels here come off with just a few screws, and on this side we have our water pump and things like that. So if accessing those is necessary, what's really nice is you just pull the tray out the other side and you don't have to unload the whole thing to get to that stuff. And that's going to come in real handy here in a couple of days, because we're going back over to Indiana to where they converted the refrigerator and they're installing solar, and I'm going to have to remove the panel on the other side because that's where all the wires are for the solar. So if you're a Montana owner and you thought about putting solar on yours, or a Keystone owner with pre-wired for solar, be sure and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified, because that video is coming up and we're going to show you just how easy that process is. So again, I hope this was helpful to some of you, and if there's some little tips and tricks that you've learned along the way, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below and share those, and hopefully we can pass that information on to others as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.